Hello my loves, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts and welcome to another fun and free crochet pattern. Now this one is for my homies that love to be outside and need to pack light. The Tobago bag is your go-to purse for the summertime. Made from 3 simple motifs, this bag really shines because of the lovely finishing details. Grab some mercerized cotton and let's get this done with this step-by-step tutorial. You ready? Now be sure to follow along with the written pattern as we go. You can find a free version on my blog or get an ad-free printable version for just $5 from my shop. Both resources are linked down in the description. Now let's talk materials. To make our bag, we'll need some worsted weight cotton. In this case, I'm using Lion Brand's 24/7 cotton, which is a lovely mercerized cotton, which means that it has a light coating on it to give it a bit of sheen, but also make it quite strong and durable. So I'll use 4 different colors, which you can use as many colors as you want, and assign your colors A, B, C, and D. I'll be following the original pattern, which does use 1 skein each of 4 colors. In addition to the yarn, we'll also need a couple crochet hooks. I'm using my handy clovers here, and I have a 3.5 millimeter and a 4 millimeter. I'll need 1 of each. Besides that, we'll need a pair of scissors, tapestry needle, and if you have them handy, we'll need a couple of beads. Now let's get started. We'll start with our A color and a 3.5 millimeter hook to make the first of 2 hexagons. So we're going to make a slip knot, and for round 1, we'll start by tightening that slip knot and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch in the first of those chains to make a ring. And the reason I do this is because we're about to put a lot of stitches into this ring. An adjustable ring is going to leave more of a hole in the middle than this would. So that's why I went with this method instead. So now we want to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Double crochet 3 into this ring. So find the center of the ring right here, and we'll put 3 double crochet there. There's 1, there's 2, and 3. Follow that by a chain 2. We'll want to repeat that 5 times. So the 3 double crochets, chain 2, we want to do 5 total times. So we have 1 so far. Here's 2. And chain 2. And I like to kind of push them up that loop because it's going to get real crowded real fast. And if you don't make space, you're going to be struggling, okay? There's 2. 3 more double crochet go in here for 1, 2, 3. There's 3. 3 double crochet again for 1, 2, 3. Chain 2. 1 more set. Still going to adjust this a little bit like that. There's 1. Here's 2 and 3. Chain 2. Now to finish this up, we want to put 2 more double crochet in here. I'm going to get this loop out the way and put 2 more double crochet into the ring. There's 1 and there's 2. From here, we're going to join with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain of our turning chain. So if we start from the bottom, you know, why are you so far away? Come in close, honey. Come on, come on. There you go. We started with 5, and if we count it 1, 2, 3, right here, we're looking for that center chain. We'll slip stitch into that. So what has happened here is that starting chain 5 counted as a double crochet and 2 chains. So by slip stitching in the 3rd of those 5 chains, we've slip stitched essentially in the top of a double crochet. So now your work should look a bit like this. We've got 6 sets of 3 double crochets. Now if you are bothered by this hole in the middle, I'm going to show you exactly what to do with it, and we'll go ahead and weave in this end here as well. I'm going to slip this onto a tapestry needle and then start working your way under the loops of the double crochets that are in your ring. One less end to worry about. All right. Now let's continue with our 3.5mm hook to round 2 of our work. First step is we're going to slip stitch into this chain 2 space here. We slip stitch into the 3rd chain of this turning chain. Now we're just going to slip stitch straight into this space. Now for round 2, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, counts as a double crochet plus 2 chains. And we're going to double crochet right back into that chain 2 space, just like that. Now we want to double crochet in each double crochet to the next chain 2 space. All right, now we're at our next chain 2 space. We're going to double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, double crochet again. Double crochet is a yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over through 2 again. Double crochet in each stitch to the next chain 2 space. Chain 2, double in the same space. Double in each double crochet to the next space. And double in the space. Chain 2, double back into the space. We're just repeating the same process all the way around. Couldn't be simpler. Now I have my double crochets here. I have 1, 2, and I have one more double crochet right here. That was that chain 3, which counted as a double crochet. Remember that our starting chain 5, we slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So this set of chains is not our last double crochet here. We have one more stitch to work. So I'm going to go in the same place that I slip stitched in here before and place a double crochet. And now I want to find the 3rd of my 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch right into that to complete the round. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets between my chain 2 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Rounds 3 and 4 are worked in the same pattern, so let's do another round together. We'll slip stitch into the next chain 2 space and chain up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Double in the same space and double in each double to the next chain 2 space. So we know we have 5 double crochet here. So we'll work 1, 2, 3, here's 4, making sure we catch both loops of that stitch, and 5. Back at a chain 2 space, just like before, we're going to double, chain 2, double. Double in each double to the next space. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Double in the space, chain 2, double in the space again. And we're going to repeat this around. One more double crochet into this last stitch here. Slip stitch into the 1, 2, 3, 3rd chain of our turning chain. So by doing this, we're creating a larger and larger hexagon. This time we have 7 stitches between our chain 2 loops. Complete one more round in this first color, then join me back here when you're ready to add your next color. Alrighty, so I'm just going to do my join here into the 3rd chain. So I like to start from the top. These are the 2 loops of this double crochet. So I can count 1, 2, 3 chains, slip stitch in there, and now I'm done with this color and I can fasten off. Instead of changing color at the end of this last stitch, I like to join with a standing double crochet. I'm going to rotate and join in the chain 2 space that is to the right. Still with my 3.5mm hook, place a slip knot on the hook, and then yarn over the hook and hold on to that yarn over, just like this. And now we're going to dip our hook, making sure that yarn over is still there, dip our hook down into the space, yarn over the hook, and pull up the loop. And now look at that. We've got 3 loops on our hook, just like we would with a double crochet. So now let's complete that double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. So that is our standing double crochet that we'll use instead of chaining up stitches. From here, I can chain 2, double crochet right into that space, and jump back into the stitch pattern. Now when it's time and I finish this round and I need to join, I can join under the 2 loops right here of this double crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook right here under those 2 loops to finish the round. The Tobago Bag Hexagon has 13 total rounds. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds of our first color, 3 rounds of our second color, 3 rounds of our third color, and 3 rounds of our fourth color. So you'll want to make 2 total hexagons that are identical. So we've got our first one going. We'll finish all of these rounds and then we'll make a second one. You join me back here when you're ready to make the square. Our square is going to start off much like our hexagon. We'll make a slip knot first, place that on the hook, and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to join with a slip stitch in the first of those chains. And now I want to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That's going to act as my first double crochet. And now I want to put 3 double crochet into the ring. So just find that ring again. It's right there in the center of your chains, and put 3 double crochet in there. 1, 2, 3. Now for the repeat for this round, we're going to chain 2 and double crochet 4 into the ring. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, shifting those stitches out the way. We're going to chain 2, double 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Scoot, scoot, scoot. One last time, chain 2, and then double 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 2, and now we're going to join with a slip stitch in the top of that turning chain. So we had 3 chains here, so we're going to join in the 3rd chain. So if we count it up, 1, 2, 3 chains, slip stitch into the 3rd. And from here we're actually done with our first color. So I'm going to fasten off and do just what I did with my hexagon and take this tail here, weave it under some of these loops to close up this hole a little bit before I go on to my next round. From here we need to add our next color. So for me that's going to be cream again. Make a slip knot, not a slip stitch, a slip knot. Here we go. Tighten up that knot and we're joining with a standing double crochet in the chain 2 space. Slip knot on the hook, I've yarned over and I'm going to hold on to that yarn over, drop down into the space, yarn over, pull up the loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again. We're going to put another double crochet down in here, then chain 2 and put 2 more double crochet into that space. So we've got our standing double crochet, another double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets into that space. Now we're going to double crochet in each stitch to the next space. There are 4 double crochets here. You might have to scoot this out the way, but we see 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to double crochet in each of those. There's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and 4. And in the space, we're going to double crochet 2. There's 1 and 2, chain 2, and double crochet 2 again. There's 1 and 2. And we're going to repeat that around. Double crochet in each stitch to the next chain 2 space. So there's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and 4. 2 double crochet, 1, 2, chain 2, 2 more double crochet. There's 1 and 2. Again, 4 double crochet here on the side, 2 double crochet. There's 1 and 2, 2 chains, and 2 double crochet. There's 1 and 2 right into that space. It's getting a little tight around here. Okay, we've got 4 double crochet here. We need to work into each of those. There's 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 4. Oh my goodness, she's a little slippery. There we go. And now we just need to join in this double crochet. We're going to drop down under those 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through for a slip stitch. For our next round, continuing in the same color, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, just like that, and then slip stitch into the chain 2 space, like that. So just like with our hexagon, we're setting ourselves up to start our round in the chain 2 space. Chain 3, there's 2 and 3, double crochet into that space, chain 2, and 2 double crochets into that space. There's 1 and 2, double in each stitch to the next chain 2 space. And then 2 doubles, 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 more doubles in the corner, 1 and 2. So we'll complete this round and join with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain of the starting chain 3. Now we're going to find the 1, 2, 3, 3rd chain in our starting chain 3, slip stitch right into that chain to finish this round, and then we'll be ready to fasten off our second color. So we'll continue in this way, changing color and adding rounds as written in the pattern. Join me back here for your round 7, which is a little bit different. It's going to be round 6 for me, but it'll be round 7 for you. So continue in the pattern through round 7, and then we'll do that one together. So for this final round of our square, we will need to do a few decreases. Now to make things a little bit easier for myself, I've marked the first stitch of my decreases. And if you want to do the same thing, what you're going to do is start in the corner and count over 11 double crochets. Mark the 12th one. That 12th double crochet will be the first stitch of your decrease. So I'm going to grab my 4th and final color, join with a standing double crochet. I've got my slip knot on my hook, yarn over my hook, gonna place a standing double crochet in that corner, just like that. Another double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochet into that corner. There's 1 and there's 2. Now I do need to scoot these out the way to get to the first of my stitches here, but like I said, you're going to work 11 double crochets and then we're going to decrease over stitch 12 and 13. One more here, just like that. Now I'm going to drop my marker and I'm going to do an invisible decrease here just to give us a cleaner look than your traditional double crochet decrease. To start, I'm going to yarn over my hook and insert my hook in the front loop only of each of the next 2 stitches. So here's my next stitch right here. I'm finding the front loop only, just like that, And then I'm going to dip down and grab the front loop of the next stitch as well. So it looks like that. I'm now going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 again, yarn over, pull through 2 a final time, and that is my invisible double crochet decrease. I can now double crochet to the next chain 2 space. So these are the 2 stitches I decreased over. My next double crochet goes in this stitch. So I had 11 double crochet on this side. I should have 11 on that side as well. But my sample's smaller than yours, so I'll have less stitches than you. And we're going to work that chain 2 space just like normal, placing 2 double crochet. There's 1 and 2, chain 2, 2 more double crochet into that chain 2 space. Now on our next side, I'm going to double crochet in each stitch to my marked stitch if you have a marker in there, or for you, you'll double crochet 11. All right, so I've made it to my marker. I'm going to drop my marker, decrease over these next 2 double crochet. Start with a yarn over, grab the front loop only of each of the next 2 stitches. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over through 2 again, yarn over through the final 2, and that completes the invisible double crochet decrease. So we're going to continue this all the way around. We'll join with a slip stitch in this first double crochet of the round. From there, I'm going to weave in all of my ends here on this square and also on my 2 hexagons, and then we'll talk about assembly. Now that all of our motifs are complete, we can move on to assembly. So here's a general idea of where we're going with this. Fold this in half. This motif goes in half, and then this one we bring corner to corner and we'll seam it just like this. We're going to seam with a mattress stitch seam worked in the back loops only. I'm going to get a length of yarn that is 3 times the entire length that I need to seam. So I need to seam this side of the square and this side of the square to these sides of my hexagon. Now let's start our mattress stitch seam. Thread your yarn onto a tapestry needle. I'm going to start in the second chain of the chain 2 space. So if we take a look here, we've got 2 chains. So this is the top 2 loops of this double crochet. Here's the top 2 loops of this chain, the top 2 loops of the second chain. So I'm going to start here and also in the corresponding chain of my hexagon. I'm going to come up the back loop only of the hexagon, leaving a little bit of a tail here, and come up the back loop of the square. Now I'm going to go down the back loop of the chain, up the back loop of the next stitch, down the back loop of the chain, up the back loop of the stitch. It is a bit time consuming, so take your time, put on an audiobook, a little bit of British baking show, whatever you're into right now, and take your time. So we're going in the stitch we just came out of and out the next stitch. We're going stitch for stitch from the hexagon to the square. In and out. In and out. A bent tipped tapestry needle works incredibly well for this. In one, out the next. In the same, out the next. Once you've accumulated a bit of seam here, here's the magic part. I'm going to hold on to this and also to my work and pull, pull, pull. Pull, 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 pull. Oh, I'll pull from the other side too. There we go. We've got a nice flat seam. I'm going to pull that a little bit so I don't have too much tail hanging out there. You see that? See how pretty that is? Oof. So continue to seam up this side and meet me back here after you've completed your corner. Our next step is to move up the seam. So I just folded my motifs in half, and I'm going to continue my mattress stitch seam up to this chain 2 space. I'll work over the first of the 2 chains in that space, and then I can attach my second motif and start working down this direction and up the opposite direction. So go ahead and do that and meet me back here to finish up our seam. I just finished my seams here at the bottom, and you can see up close how beautiful the seam is. It's got a nice ropey texture, and it's also incredibly strong. Get separate lengths of yarn to seam up these 2 parts of the hexagon, and then I'll flip it over and seam up these 2 parts. Complete your seams, and then we'll jump into doing the border here at the top. Now that our bag is completely seamed and looking fantastic, might I add, we're going to put on the top border. So we're going to start with our D color, our 4th color, as well as a 3.5mm hook. Make a slip knot, place that on the hook, and we're going to join with a standing double crochet in the 2nd double crochet here on this hexagon. So what I mean by that is, first we'll find this chain space, which is right here, and then we have the 1st and the 2nd double crochet right here. So we're going to join in this stitch. So just like before, we're going to make that standing double crochet, yarn over the hook, hold onto that loop, and then dip down into the stitch where we're meant to join, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again to make our standing double crochet. From here we need to double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. There's 1 and 2. Now we're going to chain 2 and skip the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. So we'll skip those and double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So here are our skip stitches, and we're going to double crochet 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, skip 3, double crochet 3. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, skip 3, double crochet 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now on your bag, you're going to have 5 stitches between where you are right now and your chain 2 space. Since my bag is just a sample, I have less stitches. So what you're going to do is chain 2, skip 3, and double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. For me, I'm just going to chain 2 and skip this stitch here. Now we're at our chain 2 space. We're at this corner. So we're going to double crochet 1, chain 2, and double crochet 1 into that chain 2 space. Now your next step would be to double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and then jump right into this chain 2, skip 3, double crochet 3 pattern. I'm going to mirror what I did on the other side of this increase, so I'm going to chain 2, skip 1, and then double crochet 3, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, skip 3, 1, 2, 3. Double crochet 3, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, skip 3. Double crochet 3, there's 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, skip 3. What we can see is that I have a double crochet here, my join space, and a double crochet right here on the other side of this chain space. So I'm going to double crochet 3 together over those pieces of work. So I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop in that next double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, I'm going to dip down into this join space wherever your hook can get in. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop in the double crochet that's after the chain 2 space, and then yarn over, pull through 2. I now have 4 loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops, just like that. So that closes up that space a little bit and gives us some actual stitches to work over here on our top border. So now we'll continue in the pattern, and we're going to double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. There's 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, skip 3, 1, 2, 3. double crochet in each of the next 3, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet in each of the next 3, there's 1, there's 2, and 3, chain 2, skip 3, double crochet in each of the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and just like before, you're going to have more stitches here. So this is a part where you'll want to reference the pattern to make sure you're in the right place. Again, I'm just going to chain 2, and into my chain 2 space, I'm going to place a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet. I'm going to mirror what I did on the other side of this increase, but in your case, you're going to double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and then continue in your pattern. So now we're working towards the next dip. 3 double crochet, chain 2, skip 3, 1, 2, 3 double crochet, chain 2, skip 3, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 more double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. So this is going to be the front of our bag. So we're going to do something a little bit different here. Where I'm at is I have 1 double crochet here, I have my join space, and I have a double crochet here. Now instead of doing the 3 together, we're actually going to chain 1, we're going to skip this double crochet into the join space, chain 1, we're going to skip this first double crochet here, and slip stitch into the starting standing double crochet, just like that. And it gives us an open space because that's where our tie is going to come out of. Now let's move on to round 2 of the top border. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That starting chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, so we're going to skip this stitch at the base of the chain and double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. Then we're going to place 3 double crochet in this chain space, 1, 2, and 3, and then double crochet in each double crochet here, 1, 2, and 3. 3 double crochet in the space, 1, 2, and 3. 3 double crochet into these stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And we'll repeat that until we get to our chain 2 space. Here at our chain 2 space, which is right here, we're going to double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet again. Then we'll jump right back into our pattern, 3 double crochet here, there's 2, 3, and then double crochet into your stitches. So we're putting 3 double crochet in each space and a double crochet in each stitch. So now we're back at our dip here on the back side of our work. If you recall, this is our double crochet 3 together from the previous round. So we're going to double crochet 3 together over the next stitch, the 3 together stitch, and the stitch after that. So yarn over, pull up a loop in the first stitch, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull up a loop in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop in the following stitch, yarn over, pull through 2. Just like that. And now we'll continue with our double crochets all the way around. So now I'm back at the front of my bag. I have my chain space, my stitch, and my chain space. I'm going to double crochet 3 together over this space, this stitch, and this space. Yarn over, pull up a loop in the space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop in the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull up a loop in the next space, yarn over, pull through 2, 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. And then I'm going to slip stitch in the 1, 2, 3, third chain of my starting chain 3 to end the round. And now I can fasten off. Fabulous. Now we can move on to making the tie that's going to go between all of these pretty little spaces that we left. To make my tie, I'm going to grab my color. So we're going to grab our 4mm hook, make a slip knot, leaving at least a 4-inch tail. Mine's a little bit longer, but it really can't be too long. And then we're going to make a chain that's 45 inches long. So just a loose chain, don't make it too tight, but we want it to be 45 inches long without stretching it. So when it's laying just natural, just like this, it needs to be at least 45 inches long. So go ahead and make your chain and then come back. For the remainder of our tie, we need to get another length of yarn, make a slip knot, leaving a long tail, and place that slip knot on our hook. Now we are going to slip stitch in each stitch of this chain. So you can choose what loops you want to go into. I usually go into the back loops because it looks prettier. I've got my knot here at the end, so I'm skipping this very first back loop and going into my next back loop. I'm going to insert from bottom to top, yarn over my hook, pull up the loop, and pull through the remaining loop on my hook for a slip stitch. Insert into the next loop and pull through for a slip stitch. So I'm going in the back bump of each chain down the line, slip stitching relatively loosely. Insert, yarn over, pull through. So continue slip stitching down your chain, put that British baking show back on, and meet me here so we can add some beads. My tie is all done and looking stellar, if I can say so myself. So now we want to add beads. So I put a bead on this side already. This is kind of what it looks like. Gives it a nice finish edge to the tie. I've got my bead right here, and I'm going to take both of my ends and put them onto my tapestry needle. Next, I'm going to thread my bead, and then I'm going to take one of my ends, the longer of the two, thread that back onto my tapestry needle and put it back through my bead. What this does is allow me to tighten the bead to the very end of the tie, gets it nice and snug there. And then to secure it, I'm going to take those two ends and knot them a few times. I'm going to tie a very tight knot, and it'll start to kind of tuck into the bottom of that bead there. So I'm going to double knot it this way, and then I'm going to switch hands and knot it once more. That's going to give me a very secure knot, but if you want your knot even more secure, you could put a little bead of glue there at the base. But I'm feeling confident in that knot, so I'm going to clip the yarn close to the knot and call it a day. So now the tie is complete, and we just want to thread it onto our project. And now let's thread our tie. So I'm going to start here on the front side of my bag, and I've got these two chain spaces. I'm going to first go in on this side. Kind of pull that tie through, leaving a bit of length here. That should be enough. And then I'm just going to go in and out of each of my openings. Into this space and out of this space. And voila, we have our ties. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. And the very, very, very last step is to make our strap. So let's get it done. To make our strap, we'll need our yarn, whatever color you plan to use, as well as our 4mm hook. Make a slip knot, leaving a tail that's at least 6 inches long. We're going to use that tail to actually attach the strap to the bag, so make sure it's long enough. Make your slip knot, and we're going to chain 5 loosely. Now we're using the Tunisian knit stitch to make our strap. It makes a nice flat, flexible, but very pretty strap. And even if you've never done Tunisian crochet before, I believe in you. We're only working over 5 stitches, and I think you got this. So we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains. We're going to rotate the chain towards us. And just like we did for our tie, we're going to find these back bumps. I'm going to skip this very first back bump right here and find the second. Insert your hook under that second bump, yarn over, and pull up the loop. Now we're going to leave this loop on the hook. We've got 2 loops on the hook. Insert into the next back bump, yarn over, pull up the loop. insert into the next back bump, yarn over, pull up the loop, and insert into the final back bump. If you can get it, there we go. Yarn over and pull up the loop. So we now have 5 loops on our hook, and we've completed the forward pass of the first row, the foundation row of our strap. Now we'll yarn over, pull through 1 loop to start, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, until we have 1 loop left on the hook, just like this. Deep breaths, get your shoulders away from your ears. You got this. You got this, I promise. For our next row, we've got the loop that's on our hook, and this actually counts as our very first stitch. So we're going to skip this loop that's at the very base of our hook. We're going to find the next stitch. Now with Tunisian crochet, our stitches have 2 main loops that we're looking for. We've got this front loop here on the left, and we've got a back loop here on the right. We're going to insert our hook between the front and back loop and push the hook towards the back of the work. Here are the 2 loops of our stitch that we're looking for. We've got our front loop here on the left, back loop here on the right. We're going to push our hook between those 2 loops towards the back of the work. Between the 2 loops towards the back of the work, just like that. Between and back. Yarn over the hook, pull up the loop, and when you pull up the loop, pull it up nice and high. We want these loops high, high, high. We need to keep our gauge very soft. Now we'll find the next stitch right here. We've got our front loop and the back loop, inserting between. Just like that, high loops. Next stitch, insert between the front and back loop. Now the very last stitch is worked a little bit differently. I call it the LTS, or the last Tunisian stitch. We have this tall vertical bar here. That is the front of our last stitch. But when we work that last stitch, we need to grab not only this loop, but the shadow that's behind it. So let's take a look at where that's at. Front bar is here. If we rotate our work, just behind the front bar, there's a little shadow. And I call it the shadow because it's about half as high and right behind the front bar. So if the front bar is here, the shadow is here. And we need to get both of these loops. So I'm going to insert my hook under both of those, just like that. Yarn over, and again I want to pull up that loop nice and high, just like that. Yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, just 2, and 2, and 2, until there's 1 loop left. So that is the repeat for the row. Loop on the hook counts as the first stitch. We're skipping this very first vertical bar. We'll find the front and back bar of the next stitch. Push, push, push between those 2 bars, yarn over, pull up the loop nice and high. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Last stitch, we want to find the front bar as well as the shadow right there. So we want to get our hook through both of those. Insert and push, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, 2, and 2, until there's 1 loop left. So we can see those pretty Tunisian knit stitches starting to emerge already. Let's do another couple rows together, okay? First loop on the hook counts as the first stitch. Skipping this very first vertical bar, we're going to insert into the next stitch. First, identify the front and back bar, then push your hook between the 2 towards the back of the work. Yarn over, pull up the loop, nice and tall. Insert into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up the loop. Insert into the following stitch, yarn over and pull up the loop. For the last stitch, we find the front bar and the shadow, yarn over and pull up the loop. Return pass, working the loops off the hook, yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, and 2, and 2, until we have 1 loop left. 1 more row together, okay? Loop on the hook, counts as the first stitch, so we skip this very first vertical bar. Find our next stitch, push the hook between the front and back bar to the back of the work, yarn over, pull up a tall loop. Do that for the next stitch as well, and the stitch after that. Last stitch, we need to find the front bar, which is usually pretty easy, and then the shadow right behind, right here. You see how nice of an edge we're getting here? When we grab both of these bars, it keeps this clean, and we definitely want that for our strap because it's going to be exposed. Yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, and 2, and 2. So we're going to repeat this until our strap measures 27 inches long. Once you reach 27 inches long, here's how we'll bind off our stitches, because as you can see, there's some space between the stitches here on the top row. So let me show you how to bind off. So we're going to insert our hook into the next stitch, just like we've been doing for Tunisian knit stitch. Yarn over, pull up the loop, again, nice and tall, but instead of leaving this loop here, we're going to slip it right off. So we're creating a slip stitch bind off here. Insert into the next stitch. As for knit stitch, just like we've been doing, yarn over, pull up the loop, and complete the slip stitch. Insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up the loop, and complete the slip stitch. Last stitch, we still want to grab both loops there on the end, yarn over, pull up the loop, and complete the slip stitch. And that ends up with a beautiful border here on the top. It gives us these nice knit stitches through the body. We've still got the clean edges on the left as well. And at this point, we want to fasten off, leaving a long tail for seaming as well. And from there, you can just lift your loop up and out of the work to finish off. Here is my strap. And here is my bag, and let's get it attached. So what I want to look for is actually these chain 2 spaces here at the corner. So what I'm going to do is take my first end here, and it's going to be a little snug, but I need to get this through this chain 2 space. So I'm going to take about an inch of fabric here, rotate everything around so the knit stitches are facing out, and then I'm just going to fold this in half. Just like that. Take my end, thread it onto a tapestry needle, and seam this to the strap. So I'm just going to go down into the strap and then up the other way. I'm working under my bind off stitches just to make sure it's nice and strong. Down under my next bind off stitch. I'm coming up through this knit stitch onto the other side of it and up the next bind off stitch. I've got my edge stitch here, so I'm going to go in this way, and I'm going to come out here. Then I can tie a knot, and then I'm just going to weave this end in over a couple stitches this way. And now we want to go to the other side of our bag. Just make sure that you do not twist your strap. Et voila! Your Tobago bag is all done and looking mighty fine. Oh my gosh, you know what? Even this little mini version is like really cute. This might be my little handbag for the summer. I'm a fan. Oh, you're so cute. I love this piece. I love it so much, and I really hope you liked it as well. Thanks so much for checking out this tutorial for the Tobago bag. It's just one of dozens of free patterns that are available on my channel. Click around and find something else to love. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Those small things really do go a long way. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!